She is, lost track of time. 4 months, yeah.
Gotta be.
Good afternoon and welcome to our last meeting in April. We have a few people in the audience and hopefully we've got a few people watching us on our Electric City Television. Invocation will be led by me and respect to the flag will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Beatrice Thompson. Please rise. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon our city. We ask that you guide this policymaking board in its role as leaders of the city to make good policy. We also, as always, ask you to keep those on our team that are put in harm's way daily, public safety officials, public works officials, that you keep your hand on them and keep them safe. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into the body of our meeting, we have a special recognition. I'm going to ask Chief Stewart to come down. And after that, we have a short proclamation. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Again, we have one more promotion this year. I'm going to ask Sergeant Gardner to come on down. Sergeant Gardner started with the Anderson Police Department in 2012, having spent 21 years with the Greenville Police Department. He comes to us with a total of 28 years' experience. In October of 18, Gardner was assigned to the newly added members of the Community Action Team, our street crimes unit, as well as the department's K-9 unit. Under new assignment, Craig will be promoted to the rank of sergeant in our Special Operations Division and supervise the Community Action Team, our Gang Intelligence Unit, and the K-9 unit. And Sergeant Gardner, I believe you got some family here. You want to recognize them?
Yes, my father Larry, my mother Linda, my wife Ann, my daughter Courtney, and then my granddaughter Josephine.
Here, and I'm gonna pin you. It was a brand new badge, so I had to be extra careful with it. Okay, Sergeant, if you'll raise your right hand, repeat after me. I,
I, Craig Gardner,
as the Sergeant of the City of Anderson,
as a sergeant with the City of Anderson,
will equally, fairly, and impartially,
will equally, fairly, and impartially,
to the best of my ability and skill,
to the best of my ability and skill,
exercise the trust reposed in me,
exercise the trust imposed in me,
and will use my best endeavors
and will use my best endeavors
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to law,
according to law,
the purpose for which I've been elected.
the purpose for which I've been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I knew that.
Keep Chief up for a few more minutes. As I read a proclamation, I ask him to just say a few words after the proclamation. And the proclamation is the National Police Week of 2019. And it reads, whereas to recognize National Police Week and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. And whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States. including the dedicated members of the Anderson Police Department. And whereas nearly 60,211 assaults against law enforcement officers are reported each year, resulting in approximately 17,476 injuries. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, 23,631 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty, including 4 members of the Anderson Police Department. And whereas the name of those dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas 153 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring who died in the line of duty in 2018. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Enforcement Law Officials Memorial Fund's 31st Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th of 2019. And whereas May 13, 2019 is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and I honor all the fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Therefore, it be resolved, officers and communities across the nation. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate the recognition for the law enforcement officers in the city of Anderson and Anderson County. And I would just invite the public, our Fraternal Order of Police ceremony will be Wednesday, May 15th at 6:00 p.m. at the Anderson County Courthouse, where we'll have a more formal ceremony there to recognize the fallen officers of our county. Thank you.
The minutes of the April 8th meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve?
Move.
I have first by Mr. Newton, a second by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of April the 8th passed unanimously. We have one item of old business, and that is request a second reading of ordinance 19-05 authorizing the sale of property to South Carolina Department of Transportation for construction of a roundabout on West Market Street. Ms. McEwen?
Mayor and Council, this is the final reading to move forward with conveying city-owned property to SCDOT for the intersection improvement project located at West Market Street, Southwood Street, and Monroe Street. The intersection improvement involves adding a roundabout, which will enhance the safety of the intersection by realigning Southwood with Monroe Street. It will improve the traffic flow and appearance of the area, and it's staff recommendation that we move forward with conveying this property to SCDOT on final reading.
Thank you, sir. Any comments, any questions? We talked about it a little bit at the last meeting. We have a first. Yes, ma'am. I have a first by Dr. Thompson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lockridge. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously on the second and final reading. We have 3 items of old business, and the first item is request consideration of a proposal for professional engineering services regarding the Byram's Whitney Creek Sewer Interceptors. Ms. McEwen?
All 3 items before you, new business, are capital improvement items that we're bringing forth to you tonight. The first 2 involving the sewer lines rehabilitation and replacement. The first one here is it's been identified as a capital project as we move forward from June 2014 with our CMON program, and we're to the phase where we have identified and it's time to move forward some capital improvement projects into further engineering. The project before you now is we refer to as the Byram and Whitner Creek area, and it is right in the Anderson Country Club property where these two come together, and the sewer lines actually follow those two creeks, and actually two trunk lines come together and form one trunk line, and then move on to the Generosity Creek sewer plant. And Jeff Caldwell is here tonight to go over some of the details of the engineering proposal before you. Jeff Caldwell.
Hey, thank you. One of the 10 programs that we developed during the administrative order on consent with EPA and under the CMOM programs was, one of the last ones was our infrastructure rehabilitation program. And that basically laid the groundwork for capital improvements that we seen coming forward based on the history of our flow monitoring and the history of sanitary sewer overflows and other issues that we noticed in our system before we even got into the CMOM program. The CMOM, the implementation of our flow monitoring program and our sewer assessments under the CMOM programs made these a priority for us. So the Byram Whitner Creek, we performed some assessments in the 2017, 2018, and showed that there were structural issues in the pipelines and manholes. Our flow monitoring efforts showed that there was higher flows during wet weather events that limited capacity in those areas. Our initial scope, we believe, will consist of the replacement of some pipes and the rehabilitation of some pipes, whether that be point repairs or slip lining the entire line of the pipe. Between manholes and an overall budget is estimated of around $2 million. There's several phases of the engineering services contract on this one. Preliminary design phase will consist of reviewing all those previous reports and the work orders, reviewing the service area, and estimating any future flows that we may need to handle in those areas. And those Byram and Whitner Creeks, they stretch on up in toward the city of Anderson, the Whitehall, up into Lindley Park. So it basically covers a whole lot of the area on the west side of Main Street. The final design, or the preliminary design, we believe will help us ultimately determine the final scope of what we need to design for this project. And the cost of that phase is $25,500. The final design will consist of establishing our final design criteria, performing some field surveys, preparing those construction drawings, and getting all the permits that we would need from DHEC in the amount of $75,000. The bidding phase will assembling those contract documents, answering any questions from bidders, advertising for bids, holding pre-bid meetings, reviewing those bids, and ultimately recommending a contractor. At that point, we would come back to you to ask for your consideration for us to award a contract to the lowest responsive bidder there. And then we would move into the construction administration phase, where it would include site visits to be prepared for update meetings, status meetings as the project goes along, reviewing payment requests and any final inspections needed to meet the permits that we do have from DHEC, and it's in the amount of $54,000. There's some special services there that's not included. We don't expect a whole lot of right-of-way acquisition because it's an existing line, but if stuff comes up along the way, we'll negotiate that as needed. The benefit is we do meet the letter of the CMOM programs that we've identified with EPA, and we do take the necessary steps to protect the environment and eliminate sewer stop-ups. And the funding will come from our sewer line special projects budget, which includes our capital CIP projects. So we're asking for the approval tonight in the amount of $179,500 with Design South Professionals.
Thank you, sir. Comments, questions, Mr. Chapman?
I just have one. Is this, is the fee that they've established for each of these items, are they caps, or are they, that's what the fee is?
That would be the fee. That's the lump sum fee to,
Okay.
and it's laid out with a man-hour budget also. That's,
Okay, so if we don't exceed that man-hour budget, do they reduce it?
no, that's the amount we pay. That's what they're expecting to spend on this project.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Mayor?
Jeff?
Jeff, is this in anticipation of increasing capacity while we're doing these upgrades?
It could, there is some areas where we'll need to increase capacity. Sometimes that can be done simply by slip lining the pipe. You add, the coefficient, the friction in the pipe would go down with a newer liner in there, so you can carry more, it can carry more water with on the same size pipe, or even smaller pipe. But a lot of it will be, we'll look at any future flows that may come in there. And
Only a rehab and.
mostly gonna be rehab, but there are some stretches that probably get a wholesale replacement, maybe toward the bottom where you may need some additional capacity, but that'll be all determined in that preliminary design phase.
Ms. Horvath?
Mr. Caldwell, so I remember the CMOM, this was one of the main areas of concern, right?
The Whitner Creek,
Yeah,
yeah, and that Whitner Creek and Byron Creek does have a lot of I&I.
yeah.
We saw that with our flow monitoring prior to the CMOM programs, but the CMOM program is really identified for us to place a priority on that.
And with that, I make a motion to approve this.
We have a first by Mr. Harvin, second by Mr. John Roberts.
Mr. Mayor, that's one more question.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, the project, the estimated project's $2 million. Is this included, is this within that amount?
Yeah, this is in the 2 million.
What's the scope of the time frame, Jeff? If
It's
we
about a
start
9-month.
9 months
Yeah, 9 months to get us to through final design,
through final design, and then
and then the bidding and the construction administration will follow that along the construction project.
is this kind of out of the way of public interruption as far as roads
There
and?
should be no interruptions in service associated with it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Second item of new business is request consideration of a proposal for professional engineering services regarding another project called the Cox Creek Sewer Interceptors. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, the last project we actually put before you was for the full design bidding, moving forward on the project. This project here is, we want to get a head start on it, and it's the Cox Creek area. And the Cox Creek area, trunk sewer spans from Anderson University Sports Complex across Calhoun Street, Highway 81 North, Reed Road near Bradley Park, and then Edgebrook Avenue. And it has the potential to serve the East-West Parkway. Also, we do have a force main from our new pump station that we installed in this area that's also feeding into this flow as well. So with this project here, we understand that the main thing is getting ahead on it is to get a preliminary engineering report done, to get a PER report done, and that's what's before you tonight. And we want to do that as we're starting to see some capacity issues in this line, and also we understand that's one of our largest high growth areas in the city, is the potential for additional residential, commercial development along the parkway. And so it's important for us to move it along, at least study it. And what we want to do from the PER is take a look at different funding sources and see if state revolving fund, which provides very low interest loans, and also the other project will do that as well, see if there's any grant funding as well on this project. But I'll let Jeff Caldwell again explain some of the details to this project in regard to what's before you.
Yeah, a lot of the same information here. It was identified as one in our CMOM programs and in our infrastructure rehabilitation program that this was a high priority area. This one has a little higher growth, or probably a much higher growth capacity than the Whitner and Byron Creek area, but the future flows will be, and upsizing will probably be something that's identified when we go through this preliminary design process. But it'll get us to the point where we have a more clearly defined scope on what that is, what will be our needs as far as right-of-ways in those areas, and sizes of pipe and things of that nature. So again, a lot of the same benefits. We do take the necessary steps to protect the environment. We try to eliminate those sewer overflows, handle all those existing flows, and prepare for future development in those areas. The same fund is in our capital improvement plan, and we would recommend approval to Design South in the amount of $49,800 for this preliminary study and report phase.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Questions, comments?
I have one question.
Ms. Lockhart?
What's the lifespan? I was thinking this on the other situation. What's the lifespan of these, new upgrades?
We would look at probably 30 to 40 years worth of development
Okay,
in those areas.
so it'd be large enough to handle anything? Yes,
That would be our goal there, is to make sure that we get 30, 40 years of life out of it, and as far as flows, and then hope as it's built out, I mean, there will be a cap there, and the infrastructure should last us much longer than that.
In that case, I'd like to see this approved.
Well, first by Mr. Lockhart, second by the Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Harper?
Mr. Caldwell, when it starts at the east-west connector, is that where it stops right there, or does it go back down the east-west connector?
The actual trunk line that this follows, once it crosses Reed Road at Bradley Park, and it goes on up, and then there's a sewer line there that was extended and goes across Edgebrook.
Yeah.
There's a newer subdivision called Prescott.
Yeah.
Prescott. It goes through that,
And back down.
and it actually comes back up. The actual line that was extended comes back up to 81 to serve across from Wexford.
Okay.
Commercial development across from Wexford.
And what size pipe is that now running from the sports complex?
It starts at 24, I believe. Trying to think. It's either 24 or 18. I think it's maybe 18 once it splits off of the Rocky River. Rocky River is 24, 21.
Okay.
Splits to 18 coming off of there, and then it steps down as it crosses 81, and then it steps down again. No, it stays 12 the rest of the way.
And this is just preliminary design, I mean, because as you know, it runs in my backyard, that sewer line, and
Yep.
and that's also the one of the green spaces. So when the engineering that we're going to do on looking, if we have to dig this pipe up and put a new one down, that would, I think it'd be a decent idea to talk about the green space, the walkway.
The pedestrian?
At that time, if we're going to be in there digging it up, so.
Yep.
I don't know if y'all look at that now, or.
We definitely had that in mind, and looking at when we purchase right-of-ways or we negotiate right-of-ways, make sure we have that, option. The county has around 3,000, I believe, customers total, 3,500 customers total. We do not serve all of those. And I'm not sure exactly that number, but it's in probably about half of that, probably maybe 2,000.
Good. Anything else? Jeff?
I heard, I think Councilman Lothridge asked about the length of the lifespan of this system, 30, 40 years. Can we project out that far in terms of our growth over those 30 to 40 years?
It's looking at census tracts and growth data from the census, and
because that is our high growth.
Yeah, we have to make some educated guesses on that too. I mean, it's not an exact science, but yeah.
In there too, you can look at our zoning and what our zoning would be in that area as far as residential, kind of understand the density of it, and then say, okay, well, if we had to build out of that density, what does that look like? Now, your commercial's a little bit up in the air on 81, which is where you're gonna get most of your commercial from. You could end up with a big office complex or something like that, but more than likely you're gonna end up maybe another grocery store or two and some other restaurants and amenities like that would come our way that would be projected in there.
I just think it'd be wise on our part to err on the side of growth.
Absolutely.
Because it's gonna come.
I agree.
I agree.
Thank you.
Good. Anything else? Great. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I was going to Atlanta this weekend, and I was looking at, it must have been a manufacturing grading and so forth, and you could see the pipe. So I said, if that's a big pipe from the interstate, it must be a huge pipe. Must be manufactured. Our last item of new business is request consideration of a construction contract for the Ellis Street Extension rehab. Ms. McEwen.
This project, Ellis Street Extension, is a road that runs behind several businesses off Malden Street and is adjacent to our water tower. We have a water tower right at East Malden Street and Ellis Street. The road itself is used by those businesses and also used by some trucks that go into Kenley cabinets. The road has been in fairly bad shape, and we had several businesses approach us regarding the road, and we did some research on it. First, we had to kind of get an idea, did we actually own the road, what's the history behind it, and we did full research on that, identified that it wasn't in fact ours, and along with not only, it wasn't just a simple repaving job to do, that we had several infrastructure issues once you get into the project, and that includes actually replacing the water or sewer lines that service the back of those businesses in that area. Another thing as well is that our water tower there is actually designed at some points when it has a surge of pressure or surge in overflow to actually physically overflow, where the water will come on top of the tower, come down the tower, and that water drainage did not have a good place to go. So as part of the project, we're actually enhancing that by creating drainage specifically for handling the overflow of the tank should that occur. This project we worked on in great deal in partnership with the businesses and have come to a good resolution with them. And we've had a lot of businesses in that area improve their own properties, and we're getting some good commercial activity in that area. And I'll let Kim Molinas, the Public Works Director, and Lucretia, our engineer, to go over this project in greater detail with you. We had two great bids here before you, and very competitive. And Ken and Lucretia.
Well, we did go out and look at this project. This is one of the projects that we have identified as being a need project for the city for those businesses that are located on Ellis Street. This road, as Mr. McEwen has stated, is in disrepair basically, and it gives us an opportunity at this time to not only repair the roads, but also to go in and upgrade our water and our sewer and our stormwater for this area here. We've had two bids that were submitted with that, and Earth Materials, as and you can see in your executive summary there, that it's, Earth Materials was the low bidder on this project, and at 196, 106, 18 there. The funding from this project will be from three funds: at general fund, the water fund, the sewer fund. You see there. We recommend that we go forward with this project. I think this is a 3 to 4 week project, possibly, depending on weather. We're hoping with minimum disruption to the businesses that are located there. We have reached out to all the businesses that there on multiple occasions, and to let them know and update them as to what the plans are for this, assuming that we're able to get this bid awarded to Earth Materials.
Good, thanks. Questions, comments? Ms. Chapman?
I have a couple, but the photograph that you distributed, the blue private containers for the trash containers, will they be placed on the business properties themselves as opposed to on the street after the?
That's correct. Yes, sir. They are in the right of way in these pictures here, and we've notified the business owners. And actually, I think all of them, maybe one have already been moved.
Okay.
All but one.
All of one have been moved.
Because that tends to what creates the problem.
Yes, sir.
And then, are we doing a soft shoulder, or is it going to be a curb and gutter, or what's the?
No curb and gutter. We're going back and replacing basically exactly what's there. We are, where those dumpsters are up front, we are gonna add some extra asphalt for parallel parking, because they are gonna, since they had to move their dumpsters out of the right of way, they're gonna lose a few parking spaces each business, so we're doing that to kind of give them some parking back.
Okay, so it'll be marked and everything?
Right. That asphalt will be heavy duty down to where, Kenny Cabinets is, their trucks go through that area, so that'll help us and, when they service those dumpsters in the future, should help with the asphalt, there.
But they'll remain on their property?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Perfect, thanks.
Anything else, guys?
I'll tell you, I've been on that property. It's a mess. It's like, running a gamut of, or gauntlet, I should say.
It was a-
A gauntlet of holes. I mean, it's terrible. So something needs to be done for that.
Mr. Jeff Roberts?
I noticed that, in the bid breakdown, they identified unit costs. Will the final cost be determined by materials put in place, or is this a hard, firm bid?
It'll be determined by materials in place,
So it could vary. Okay.
but it should be pretty close. I don't expect it to.
Can I follow up on that? 'Cause
You
that-
sure can?
Thing that I had noticed as well is that, the demolition on the bid that was a little bit higher was higher on that, but his unit cost on the other, on the asphalt itself was far less. So was that considered?
Yes, we went through pretty much line by line, and the bids, as you see, were really close.
Very close.
Less than 1%
Well, they're close in number,
in number.
but if you look at the unit cost, what Ms. Roberts had just asked,
Right,
the demolition of the existing road was a little bit higher on the higher bid, but lower on the unit cost. So I just want to make sure we consider that, because there's only $1,800 difference between the two, and if the unit costs are far less on the other one, you see how it can be, there
right, I
can be.
understand. There were other items where they were, the higher bid was significantly higher than they were on other, than Earth Materials was. So that was just, I mean, we kind of struggled with it because they were so close. But in the end, I mean, we recommended going with the low bidder.
Have we had any experience with earth material? I've obviously heard of Pickens. You guys heard of?
I've heard of.
Heard of?
Can I ask a quick, I mean, I looked at it, you know, I don't bid stuff like this. So are you saying like in line two, it's a price difference?
Big price.
Okay, that's the demolition.
Yeah, that's the demolition. The demolition cost was higher on the higher bid,
Yeah.
but the unit cost for the actual asphalt is less
Is that,
on the higher bid. So that's what brought me,
was that like number three? It says heavy duty paving, unit cost $10 for earth materials and $7 for picking.
that's right.
So it's lower for picking.
So it's lower on the
lower bid.
higher bid, on the higher bid. So if we're going by unit cost, that's why when Jeff brought that up, I just wanted to make sure that we considered that, because at the end of the day, we might could pay more
Gotcha.
for the higher, or for the lower bid, because his unit prices are higher.
Yeah, I got you. I'm with you now.
He's a little tired.
sense?
He's with
Yes,
us.
I understand, and that part of the difference is that Pickens, their main, as bidding it, they are the asphalt contractor. There's no markup on their asphalt, whereas Earth Materials will be subbing the asphalt, so there's always gonna be a markup on that, on the parts they're subbing. Whereas there's a markup on the parts that Pickens is gonna sub out, which they would sub out the water and sewer.
But that's a fixed cost. The unit price is what's gonna vary, that's all. You see what I'm saying? The one part that's gonna go by unit pricing is gonna actually cost more because their price is higher by unit, even though they're the lower bid.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
How confident do you feel in your design and quantities?
It's not a very big street, and I mean,
Right.
we're basically going from right of way to right of way, so
pretty simple, right?
Numbers are not
Okay.
right.
Feel good about it.
All right.
No, no, that is not the case. If the unit price is higher, if they use more material than what she has estimated, then we will pay more because the low bids, unit prices are actually higher. But,
That's correct.
okay.
Well, in that respect, what do you think that we as a council should do?
We'll go on their suggestion.
Yeah, I have complete faith in you, but I was just, whether or not you felt like it was a big enough problem that we needed to possibly look at, the other contractor.
We'll go on their recommendation. I'm just saying that you gotta be aware of that when it goes down to unit pricing.
Anything else?
I'd like to say one thing. I know Mr. Harvin and I were both contacted quite a bit over the last couple of years of the project. And I appreciate what y'all have done to put this together and try to engineer it. I know they've worked hard and it's changed hands as well through the course of this. But and I know there were some other things like the landscaping. If you look at that, there's about $10,000 difference in the seeding and grading on that as well. So that could possibly then come back in our favor with the low bidder. So with that, I'd like to make a motion with
Good. Thanks, guys. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Administrative briefing, Mr. McEwen.
Yes, just a couple things. This is, of course, the last council meeting of April. On April the 25th, we have Concerned Citizens of Eastside at 5 p.m. at District 5 Alternative School Community Meeting. And in May 2nd, we have our block party. The block party every Thursday from now on, and it's great weather for it now. We're starting to see the attendance really pick up, and the business take advantage of that as well. And back-to-back events again on Friday, May the 3rd, we have Sounds in the Park from 7 to 9, Carolina Wren Park. Again on the 9th, the block party. On the 10th, our offices will be closed in observance of a holiday. And also want to point out that Dr. Thompson's Westside Community Center Gala is at 7 p.m. Yes, ma'am. Have it on the 10th. Yep. Rachel gave me the corrected calendar. So we have it on the 10th. And there also that night we have a movie night in Carolina Wren Park. The Incredibles 2 starting at 8:35 or when it gets dark. Our only meeting in May will be on the 13th at 6 p.m. as the 27th for our second regular meeting will be closed in observance for Memorial Day. With that, that includes my administrative report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, before we adjourn, we'd like to thank Mr. McEwen. I thank him privately. I'd like to thank him publicly and his whole team. I have received a lot of positive comments about the lights being on downtown. I just want to pass that along to you and your team for a lot of good things. I just want to thank you for your visionary leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Newton and council. We've also received a lot of positive comments, and I think it's brought a new vibe to downtown.
Good. Good point.
Electric City.
Very good. A lot of good things going on.
Absolutely.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
First by Mr. Newton, second by Mr. Lockridge. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.